Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, a disease that may make you feel uncomfortable to talk about, but where Nevada may have the chance to be a leader in curing it. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Thanks, Sam. Today's guests are Lynette Boggs McDonald, the Clark County Commissioner, and Dr. John McDonald, no relation, with the University of Nevada School of Medicine. We'll be talking about Alzheimer's disease and the new Ruvo Center in Las Vegas that will help us deal with this dreaded disease.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, John Griffin, Paul Mozen, and Bill Brainard. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, just 10 minutes east of Sparks, we are constructing a 16-mile expressway connecting I-80 to Highway 50. This expressway provides direct access and will make it much easier to get to work. A direct route for employment opportunities. From 100% fiber optics to clean, reliable power. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you two great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and social security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%. Lobby for your interests and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by Lynette Boggs McDonald, who's a Clark County Commissioner, and also we're joined by Dr. John McDonald, no relation, who is Dean and Vice President of Health Sciences at the University of Nevada School of Medicine. This is National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month, and we wanted to talk about this very prominent topic in our state. Doctor, would you explain briefly for the layman what is Alzheimer's disease?
Alzheimer's is a chronic, inexorable, progressive neurological disease that leads ultimately to dementia and then death.
And somebody once explained it to me. They said that a lot of us worry about our memories and not remembering things. That doesn't mean that you have Alzheimer's disease. If you look at your car keys and don't know what they're for, you may have Alzheimer's disease.
I think that's a pretty good explanation, actually. I mean, we all have had those senior moments where you simply can't remember something simple, trivial. It happens more frequently as we age. It's a common part of aging. But that is not Alzheimer's disease. We're distracted, we're busy, lots of things on your mind. Just because you can't recall somebody's name immediately or forget something, certainly should not be cause for alarm. If you find yourself losing your way in familiar territory, if you start losing names, place names, recognition of people that you've known for a long time, if loved ones notice this kind of change or aberrant behavior, then that should really take you to a physician for evaluation.
Doctor, by the year 2050, it is 2050, it is estimated that 14 million Americans will have Alzheimer's. You're looking for a cure. The American Cancer Society have been looking for a cure for cancer for decades. What are your chances of finding a cure for Alzheimer's?
Cancer is an interesting analogy because cancer is not one disease, and we've had spectacular successes with treating cancer, certain kinds of cancer. Drugs like Gleevec have transformed the treatment of certain kinds of cancer. I think there's every likelihood that by that time there will be meaningful, effective treatments for Alzheimer's. There's a couple of very important issues to keep in mind. This month in the journal Neurology, there was an article that looked at the attitude of people with Alzheimer's and loved ones of patients with Alzheimer's about the need for aggressive treatment, the fact that this is not a chronic disease in the conventional sense. This is a disease that kills people, that robs memory, that robs lives. So your quality of life toward the end of life is terrible. And we're going to do everything we can with the Institute to help people with that problem. But we have to be very aggressive. We have to detect the problem early. So imaging is extremely important. Behavioral testing is extremely important. And we have to begin to use much more aggressive approaches for the pharmacological treatment of Alzheimer's. It's not easy to treat a disease that may take a decade to really develop. If you start by the time you have advanced symptoms, the disease has been progressive and ravaging the brain for 10 years. You need to identify these patients early on and then attempt therapies. And it takes time to see if those therapies work.
Lynette, one of the things that's most tragic about this illness is that the actual patient is the one who appears to least suffer as it gets into its later stages, and it's the family that really has an incredible burden. And we saw this with President Reagan and Nancy Reagan as she struggled to take care of the president. You are president of Keep Memory Alive, the Foundation for the Ruvo Alzheimer's Center. What role does the center play?
Well, we intend to be a statewide resource, not only for individuals and their families who have been affected by Alzheimer's, but our mission will also include Parkinson's and Huntington's disease, because we're finding that many of those diseases are very common in those who age, these neurodegenerative diseases. But we want to be a one-stop shop so that when we build this facility, which is slated to open in downtown Las Vegas by the first quarter of 2008, not only will it be a resource for the treatment, but we will also have all of those support services. We'll have the local Alzheimer's Association in our facility, local Parkinson's Disease Association, so that the families will also have those resources right there in our building to be able to support them. And I just know firsthand, my own parents have been guardians of one of my aunts who's had Alzheimer's for the past 7 years. And so it's not only just the treatment side that is very important, but the support for those caregivers and making sure that they have support and resources as well.
Now, Larry Ruvo has been quoted in the Las Vegas Sun saying that the center still needs about $25 million. You're scheduled to break ground on this next year.
Yes.
Where do you think you're going to get the rest of the $25 million?
Well, our last annual gala, last year we were able to raise $6 million just in that night. And so we will have our next gala in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand on February the 11th, and our goal is to match or exceed what we were able to do last year. We are also just reaching out through private philanthropy, both individuals as well as foundations all throughout the state and country. And we intend to then float economic development revenue bonds to be able to finance the facility and then pay those off.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. Lots more here to talk about with Alzheimer's disease and what the state of Nevada may be doing to help find a cure. We'll be right back after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seemed to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
The materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we continue our conversation here with Clark County Commissioner Lynette Boggs McDonald, president of Keep Memory Alive, the Foundation for the Lou Ruvo Alzheimer Center, and Dr. John McDonald, Dean and Vice President of Health Sciences at the University of Nevada School of Medicine.
Lynette, Keep Memory Alive also sponsors a celebrity poker tournament in Las Vegas where you get some of Hollywood's biggest stars with some of the best poker players in the world. Last year, this netted you $200,000. What celebrities lost their shirts to come up with, $200K on this fundraiser?
Well, it happens in Las Vegas, stays in Las Vegas, so we can't give it up.
It's a statewide show. Come on,
it's statewide. But we always hope to attract both at the Celebrity Poker Tournament as well as at our annual gala many celebrities. And in fact, they're just like all of us that have had relatives who have been affected by this disease and are able to help us out. Robin Leach each year always serves as our celebrity MC. He's been very helpful. At this next event, we'll have Emerald Lagasse, Wolfgang Puck, and Nobu, all as celebrity chefs. And so we hope to bring much of Hollywood to this event in February and throughout the course of the year.
Well, Ben Affleck was in this, James Caan.
Yes.
When you match those guys up against the top poker players in the world, do they stand a chance?
Well, you'd be surprised. These celebrities are pretty good. In fact, that's why they have their own TV shows nowadays with celebrity poker tournaments. And so it's always great. And, we see that, all throughout our state, these celebrities like to come and gamble and have a good time in Nevada.
Okay. Let me turn it back a little bit more seriously here. Embryonic stem cell research, how does that become a part of what you're doing in terms of research to find a cure for Alzheimer's?
Well, embryonic stem cell research is, of course, a controversial topic.
That's why we brought it up.
Of course. I'd be disappointed if you didn't, Sam. The controversy is really about the source of the embryonic stem cells. And I think if we take that part of it aside, I think that all of us who are interested in this area agree that there is tremendous promise in the technology. It's new technology. We are just beginning to learn the potential of this kind of cell-based therapy for chronic degenerative disease. For example, there was a recent study that showed that a source of stem cells about which there's no controversy, bone marrow stem cells taken from a patient and instilled back into that patient, can have a beneficial effect on heart healing after a heart attack.
And I'm much in favor of that kind of research.
Exactly. So I think that There's great promise. We've seen private institutes step up. Doug Melton at Harvard, for example, is dedicating his laboratory to studying stem cells, how to engineer them to cure chronic diseases. The state of California, with its tremendous initiative. Right here in Reno, we have Dr. Zanjani, who is interested in using stem cells to essentially create humanized organs, which could then be used in transplantation. I think the potential is huge. So we're just beginning to see it. But it's all very experimental and confined mostly to models of human disease.
And Nancy Reagan is somebody who's now very much in favor of continuing this kind of research on a federal level.
That's correct.
But also, Maria Shriver, the wife of Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, she is on your board of directors,
Absolutely.
right? So you really have star power with Keep Memory Alive.
Yes, and she, her own father, Sergeant Shriver, has, suffered with Alzheimer's disease, and so she, again, it comes from a first-hand family experience, and she's written children's books to help explain the disease to young people, and so we're just very fortunate to be able to honor her at this annual gala in February, and to have her support as someone of national stature to assist us in our mission.
Okay.
On another topic, which is rather interesting, the building that's being built is being designed by a world-famous architect, correct?
It's Frank Gehry, yes. And it's the very first Frank Gehry design building in the state of Nevada. And for many years, I think many have tried to get Frank Gehry to design their buildings, but it was the passion of our chairman, Larry Ruvo, that really convinced Frank Gehry to take on our project. And so we'll have the design revealed at the gala, and we will break ground August 4th, which was the date of Larry's late father's birthday. And so 18 months after that groundbreaking, we hope to have the doors open for business.
Now, the number one fan of this show is Mayor Oscar Goodman. He must be thrilled that it's going into his 61 acres downtown,
Yes.
correct?
He has been just a great supporter of ours, and in fact, he just last week donated $100,000 to Keep Memory Alive from OPAC, his political action committee, and so we're just very fortunate to have his support, and that we will be one of the first buildings constructed on that 61 acres.
Well, I know a lot of our viewers are out there who have experience with this disease through relatives and friends, and in fact, recently a member of our pundit panel, her husband passed away having suffered from Alzheimer's disease, and so we all know just the pain that it causes. We're going to put the information, if people would like to know more about the center and what it's doing, on our website so that you can find out. So NevadaNewsmakers.com, it'll be up there a little bit later on today. Thank you both very much for coming to do the program.
Thank you.
And please come back and tell us more.
We definitely will.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
This is one of Sierra Power's main generating plants. It's right next door to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. These plants provide all the clean, reliable power that businesses need. TRI has 3 independent power generation facilities on site. For sensitive manufacturing companies and high-tech firms, this benefit is invaluable. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The Nevada Beer Wholesalers encourages the responsible consumption of beer. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association are sponsors and participants in many community-based efforts such as school education programs, safe ride home, recycling programs, alcohol-free after-prom and graduation parties, safe voting campaigns, and designated driver programs. They are family-owned businesses employing 2,000 Nevadans. They also collect and pay the state excise tax. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association, delivering more than just beer.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beefsteaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are joined by our Power Pundit panel today, John Griffin with the Crowell Group, Dr. Paul Mozen, healthcare consultant, and Bill Brainard, our community activist here. Bill, you wanted to talk about the massive layoffs that GM is looking at here.
Well, I think it's very sad to see that. I understand it's going to be at least a quarter of their employees that are being laid off. That's very difficult to think about. A major corporation, I'm not too sure that they're not the one of the largest, certainly, in the United States, having to lay off that number of people. It speaks poorly for well, I guess it speaks poorly for the unions, who have probably done the same thing to the automobile industry that the coal miners union did to the coal industry. You're going to get you're going to get mechanical instead of personal. So I think it's kind of sad.
Along those lines, why is it that foreign car manufacturers can compete and our American car makers can't?
Well, and that was an interesting point.
And is it the unions? Is it only the unions, or is it something else? Is it more?
On CBS News last night, some folks were talking about some of the factories that will be abandoned in the Carolinas, and they were saying, well, hopefully they won't be empty very long because the Japanese will come in and put in car factories. And that's been a problem that's been going on for a long time in this country, where we have not been manufacturing. Started out with quality cars, the Japanese beat us with that, then attractive cars. We just seem to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
And we're behind on the technology. The Japanese came out with the hybrid cars 3-4 years ago. I think just this year or last year, American car makers started putting out a few hybrids.
Well, we're ahead of Yugoslavia in car manufacturing.
Should I get rid of my Yugo?
You still got it.
The problem is it's the global economy, and when you look at what you have to do to compete, we just can't. I mean, in China, they have people working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, for nickels, and if you don't like it, well, fine, you're out of here, we'll get somebody else to do it. And that's not just, there's just no way to make that work in America. I mean, it's just not going to work. So we got to find a way to fit into the global economy, and Walmart's getting crap for it, GM's going to start getting a bunch of flack for it, and I think it's more just growing pains of the global economy than it is indicative of anything negative on those companies.
Let's change subjects here. There's a group called the Council for a Better Nevada that's been around since the 2003 legislative session. And its membership is 9 top executives from key industries, including gaming, banking, real estate, and healthcare. And I'm referring to an article from the Las Vegas Sun by Kevin Rademacher. Some of the members of this group, Larry Ruvo, who we were talking about earlier, Terry Lanny, head of MGM Mirage, Jim Rogers, who owns this television stations upon which this program airs, Nevada State Bank President Bill Martin. And they've kind of been getting involved in making comments about and trying to assist, for example, the hiring of the new school superintendent in Clark County. And I'm wondering if I have concerns about whether we have kind of a shadow government being formed here to an extent. And then there was an article that came out the next day that says that the union that represents the Clark County school administrators want the chief executives who make up the Council for a Better Nevada to mind their own business. That was from Emily Richmond in the Sun. What are your thoughts on how far are business leaders, or should they go, in helping public bodies? And where should they be told to thank you very much for your input, but we're going to make our own decisions?
Well, I assume it depends upon what they're doing to help versus hinder. There's no doubt it sounds like a good old boy network if you look at it that way. Quite frankly, I would think that the education union is just as powerful, in fact probably even more powerful than all of those individuals combined, as far as putting together votes and trying to influence politicians. So you've got two groups. One, you've got the good old boys, and you got the teachers' union. So
anything that furders an open public debate, I think, is a good thing. Get the issues out there, talk about them. So in that respect, I think it's a good. It doesn't bother me.
So I guess we're kind of moving to an anointment process, huh? Like one previously has never existed.
Well, I don't think it's an anointment. I just, bring the issues up and let the public talk about it. They have their opinion, and
What they're trying to do is circumvent the hiring process and bring in a superstar, pay him $400,000 a year to fix the Clark County School District. You could pay a guy or a woman $1 million a year, and he may not or she may not be able to get the job done. That has multiple problems on multiple levels, and I don't think one guy, just because you pay him a whole bunch of money, is going to come in and be the miracle worker.
I agree with you. Just because you pay the money
you
doesn't
talk
mean
about throwing money at education, and that never works. Well, aren't we now throwing the money? A lot of
throwing the money.
You're going to come over to our side.
I doubt
anoint him, Bill.
We've only got about 45 seconds. Okay. On the day we're taping this program for broadcast this week, this is the anniversary, the 42nd anniversary of the assassination of President John Kennedy. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that. You want to start, Ray?
You caught me off guard. All I can say is what a sad day that was for me. I was a third grader at St. Thomas Aquinas School, and even though I was very young, it touched me very deeply. I never remembered so much national mourning as when JFK died.
I have a great story. Speaking of irony, I was a fourth grader at William H. McKinley Elementary School. There's an irony there. And I remember coming home from school to my friend's house, and his mother was sitting in the kitchen crying. And it's something that I don't think anyone will forget where they were on that day.
I do. I wasn't born yet.
Except for John.
Bill?
Well, I'm trying to... What year was it again?
This would be 42 years ago, 63.
How many years ago?
42 years ago.
42 years ago. Let's see. I was 30-something, so I was probably driving in my car when I heard about it. I didn't particularly... Well, it's very sad to have any assassination of any president. I didn't vote for him, but I certainly wouldn't have shot him. So I guess that's all I can say about that.
And as a child in London, we got the news, and there was national mourning there too. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. For a quick bite and the best sandwiches in town, it's the Whistle Stop Deli. And for the best appetizers and menu selections and a large variety of cocktails, beers, and martinis, it's Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Monty Ranch Parkway.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And as always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com.
Sam, tomorrow we have Senator Harry Reid, the minority leader. You don't want to miss that.
It'll be a great show. See you then.